Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you don't know this thing about me already, you should know it now, that I'm a huge fan of murder mystery, psychological thriller, mystery thrillers, detective novels. In fact, my first foray into reading was through Sherlock Holmes, and it remains to this day one of my favorite books to reread. I have read the complete collection of Sherlock Holmes like many times over. That's how much I love a good, well-written mystery, and I do read a lot of mystery / psychological thrillers. I thought that it is a good idea to share with you a few of my recent favorite psychological / mystery thrillers. All of them I listen to on Storytel, which is an audiobook app. My name is Angela. You can call me Angie. If this is your first time here and wondering what I do here, I talk about books and all things related to books like movies and TV shows. So if those kind of things interest you, please subscribe to my channel. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Consider this kind of a countdown. So I am counting down from my least favorite to my most favorite. At number 5, we have Killing Kate by Alex Lake. Alex Lake is an author that I recently discovered. Actually, I read another book of his which will feature in this list later on. Killing Kate is a psychological thriller, and even though the suspense may be something that you could easily predict, the reward at the end is really good. It is well executed through and through. Kate, she is a lawyer and she is in her 20s and enjoying her life. And she recently broke up with her boyfriend Phil, who was a long-term boyfriend. I think they started dating back in high school. It was a very serious relationship where Phil had no idea that Kate was going to break up with him, and so he takes the breakup very badly. He is really shocked and taken aback by this. To take a break from her normal life and also to keep a distance from Phil after the breakup, she plans an all-girls trip to Turkey. I love an all-girls trip. I'm actually planning something towards the end of this year. Hopefully it pans out. Sorry, I digress. Back to the story. So while in Turkey, she meets this wonderful man called Mike, who could have easily, taken advantage of her in a very vulnerable situation, but he turns out to be this gentleman, and she realizes that he is also an English man, and then, they somehow run into each other back in England as well once they're back from their vacations. But I am jumping the gun. In between all this, murders start happening in her hometown or home village. Young girls are being murdered, and all these girls, coincidentally or not, look alike, and they all look like her, like Kate. And even her close friends with whom she went for vacation, they're also like really astonished, and something is happening, and warns her and asks her to be cautious. In the middle of all this, there are some stalking incidents that happen, which really petrifies Kate, and she moves into her parents' home. She also starts dating Mike. Kate is such a difficult character. Like, she kind of leads on men. It happens with her colleague Nathan, who definitely has an interest towards her, and she doesn't, but still she leads on and makes use of these men around her for her own gain. An interesting thing about Nathan is that he seems to have a lot of information about these murders, including insider information which is not released to the public, and she kind of wonders where he has all this information. The culprit does get caught, of course. Even though as readers we have multiple options available, it was kind of easy to see through or to predict who was behind all these murders. There are some interesting characters involved in this with whom I have not mentioned, who are very vital to the flow of the story. I will hold that back from you. You just have to read the book and enjoy the fun. Next up in the list at number 4 is The New House by Tess Stimson. This is a story of 3 couples in the process of buying their dream home, and they have found potential options. We also get the POV of a first-person POV of an unnamed, perhaps unreliable narrator, because from the narrator's own mouth, Towards the beginning of the book itself, we understand that he has the condition of psychopathy. He is a psychopath. So there are three couples. First up, we have this power couple, Stacy and Felix Porter. Stacy is a news presenter in a very popular media channel, and hence she is kind of a minor celebrity, and they have this amazing house called the Glass House, and she wants to sell it, but she is very particular about whom she's selling it to. Then you have Millie downtown and her husband, the second couple. She really wants to buy the Glass House from the Porters. And the third couple, oh my god, they are a fun couple. So basically they are YouTube influencers. Their name being Kyler and Harper, and their channel's name is Kyber Life. The audiobook, guys, was done so well. The influencer guys, they want to buy the house from Millie, provided Millie gets the Glass House from Stacy. That is the order of things. Your offers are made, and papers are getting signed, and all this process has been kick-started until something happens and the whole process falls through. There are strange things happening, unexpected events happening. More than a murder mystery, this is a psychological thriller. We get to guess who is behind the strange happenings. I thought I guessed the culprit right, and I was right. I found out when I finished the book, but it doesn't stop there. That's where this book took me by surprise. Towards the end, after the huge reveal, the big reveal, one particular event that occurs, which was kind of unbelievable and difficult to digest, like difficult to accept. It felt implausible. That kind of knocked this what could have been a 5-star thriller down to 4-star thriller for me, and that's why I rated it 4 stars. That is The New House by Tess Stimson. Go and check it out if you love a great psychological thriller. At number 3, I have 1 in 3 by Tess Stimson again. So I have this tendency, once I discover a new author, I actually stick to them and explore a couple of more books from them. Now this is a good psychological thriller again, for one which I did not guess the ending correctly. I mean, yeah, it was a great deception from the author's side, and that's when I love a book. The story is about 3 people. Louise, she has been divorced from her husband for around 4 years now, and she is living with her 2 kids in her own home. And Andrew, her ex-husband, actually started dating and seeing this woman called Kaz. Anyways, everything was all well for the 4 years, but recently Louise has been trying to impose and inject herself into Kaz and Andrew's life, which is kind of cringy and definitely not acceptable. Louise is finding it difficult to just move on with her life and accept that Andrew is with another woman now. We get the story from 2 POVs. One is from Louise's POV, the other is from Cass's POV. Both are interesting because most of the times both people are narrating the same incident, but the perspective is so different because it's completely 2 different people, mostly indifferent, and they both hate each other, right? So the way each of them perceive each situation was so opposite to each other, so contrast to each other. It kind of was fun to read that. During a family holiday where all the extended families like cousins, nieces, nephews, all of them are invited, Louise's mother actually invites Andrew and Kaz to this holiday, which Louise finds really annoying and inappropriate. Louise's mother really thinks really high of Andrew, and definitely it's awkward and uncomfortable and tense, because these are people who do not get along, at least these 3. Andrew gets murdered, and Louise and Kaz are found standing over his body. So the question is, who killed Andrew? And the answer is in the book. You should go and check it out. It's a great thriller because of how the author was successful in fooling me. So So that's why I really love this book. Go and check it out. Next up at number 2 is The Family Upstairs. I actually did speak about this book in one of my wrap-up videos, but here I am once again giving you a small gist of this book. So this book is about a woman called Libby who has just inherited a huge, beautiful house or a mansion unexpectedly on her 25th birthday. But it's no ordinary house. Years ago or decades ago, 3 people were murdered in that house. While these bodies were discovered, an infant baby girl was discovered in an upstairs bedroom in her crib. These murders were never solved. The narration is from 3 POVs. The first one is of course of Libby, and the second one is of this woman called Lucy, who is in another country altogether, and she is this derelict woman who is basically homeless and living in squalor with her 2 children. Then we also have a narrator who is an unnamed narrator, who is a young man, and he is recollecting or thinking back what happened all these years ago in that house when the people of the house, the family in the house, invited in kind of strangers into their home to live with them. The mystery of the murders that happened decades ago is basically the crux, the main mystery that we are after. The reveal, it was so satisfying because I didn't see that coming, and also kind of dark because it's kind of sad what happened. That was a great psychological / mystery thriller that I read, and that's why it's on the number 2 spot in this list. We are at the end of this list. That means I will be revealing what's on the top of my list for great thrillers you can read, and that is 7 Days by Alex Lake. I mentioned earlier that Alex Lake will definitely appear again in this list, and oh my god, I loved this book. In 7 days, Maggie's son Max will turn 3 years old, but there are no birthday cakes, no celebrations. She is in fact sad and petrified beyond words. And why is that? Because she and her child, her 3-year-old, almost 3-year-old son, is locked up and imprisoned in somebody's basement. Somebody who kidnapped her when she was just 15 years old. So that's a story, and she's been imprisoned for 12 years. Her sons, the previous 2 sons that she gave birth to, were taken away from her on their 3rd birthdays. That's why she's dreading Max's birthday, which is due in 7 days. There's no mystery element here, and there's no big reveal that's going to happen in this book, and still I love this book. I gave it 5 stars, which is kind of rare for me. I am a sucker for huge reveals and jaw-dropping, knee-jerking suspenses and twists, etc. And that was not there in this book, but still I was so engaged throughout this book. That's because the way the suspense builds in this story is so well done. We are 100% invested in this unfortunate woman's story and her plight, that you want her to somehow be saved, which seems impossible because she has tried anything and everything to escape from this dungeon or basement, but she was never successful. I usually do not cry while reading book. Usually I cry when I'm watching movie or TV shows because it is accompanied by music, which instills this emotions in you. So generally it's tough for me to burst into tears when I'm listening or when I'm reading a book. It happened when I was reading A Little Life and then A Thousand Splendid Suns. That one I cried my eyes out. This book as well, I was so devastated. There is definitely a need for trigger warning for abuse, sexual abuse, physical abuse, child abuse, and it really triggered me a lot of times. I had to just stop the audiobook and listen to something more pleasant, but it will inevitably pull you back. The story will inevitably pull you back. So that was 7 Days by Alex Lake, guys. You should read this book. If there's an opportunity to listen to the audiobook, and if you're, are a person who enjoy audiobook, I would definitely recommend the audiobook over the physical book. And that was my list, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope I was helpful, to pick out some books for you if you are a lover of mystery thrillers. Let me know if you have read any of this. I will catch you soon in another video. If you haven't subscribed already, please do subscribe. And this is Angie signing off. Bye bye.